Just look at the business as a series of like tubes and bottlenecks. And whenever you reach a bottleneck, really analyze it, find out why it's a problem. And then as it grows, you'll find the next one and just move one step at a time, really. The numbers don't lie. So look at the data, then make a decision. Look at the data, then make a decision.
If you were to give yourself one piece of advice when you first started, knowing what you know now, what would that be?
I think...
Alrighty. Well, when did you first start the agency?
Yeah, fair enough. So with the agency, so about 3 years ago, I was working and my friend told me to come out to Abu Dhabi to work with him as a teacher. And as teachers, we got lots of holidays and we finished really early. So while we were teaching, we were looking at ways to make money. And I was looking at dropshipping for a little bit and I was looking at SMMA for way too long, probably the last year or two. And I was just kind of sniffing it out. And then this February, I was like, okay, I think I can do it. So I quit my job and went into this full time. And it was around then I found your course as well. Dylan, thank you so much for everything you've done, by the way, just separately. Bravo.
I appreciate that. That means a lot. So you said you started your agency in February?
Yeah. So yes, I started in February. So about, 7 months before that, I was looking into SMMA, which was doing everything apart from calling people. So I was like building business plans, etc., etc. But then it was only once I left my job in February that I really started phoning people, coming up with an offer. A niche.
What did February look like for you?
Yeah, February was great because I'd left Abu Dhabi and I was moving back in with my girlfriend's parents' house, which is a lovely place to stay, but it's a big adjustment. And I don't have a job, and I'm now becoming an entrepreneur. It was like a lot of pressure that I put on myself. Trust me, bro. It was a bit of pressure I was putting on myself, but I was also excited as well. So I thought I had seen people on YouTube that had seemed to have skills that I had. So I thought I could make it work, but it was just a month of a lot of change.
When you first started your agency, I guess, what were your expectations? Like, was it harder than you thought? Was it easier than you thought? What kind of expectations did you have going into it?
Yeah, that's a great question. So when I was working in Abu Dhabi, I had an idea of the client that I wanted to eventually attract. So I saw this time as kind of practicing the skill set rather than making money or anything. I wanted to learn how to use marketing to make money, company's business, more business. So I thought that'd be a useful skill to have. So
yeah, I guess, where was your head at when you first started? Like, what expectations did you have? Like, all that? Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I was looking, there were so many parts to this. It was like Facebook ads, onboarding, sales. There were so many parts. I was just kind of a bit dwarfed by the whole thing. And I didn't spend my time very well. I'd kind of do a little bit of service delivery, then I'd watch a video on onboarding, then I'd try and cold call someone. So
sweet. So then what did the first 4 weeks of you running your agency look like?
The first 4 weeks, so it was kind of the admin ground bits of it. I was making an offer, I was approaching banks, creating a bank business things, and jobs that should have taken a day were taking me like a month. I was very slow. And it was around that time I seen your advert, man.
So it was around that time. And then I guess what made you decide to actually want to not, I guess, just do it on your own?
So while I was in Abu Dhabi, I was obviously absorbing some content. I think quite quickly when you're looking at content, you can figure out who's trying to sell you something, like who's using it as a sales funnel and who's genuinely trying to help people. So I knew your name from fairly early, but it was only when I seen your advert and all the other coaching programs, I suppose, were selling a skill and a course. And it really intrigued me that you were looking for partners. I like the way, from your videos, I like the way you did business. And from your offer, I was like, this guy will 100% make me money. So I think that more than wanting to buy your course, there was a trust that you built for your content.
Well. So when you first started, what were the first kind of things that you, like, limiting beliefs that you had to break or changes that you had to make inside of your business to get to where you want to be?
Actually, probably a very big one was my relationship with this course. Because when I bought it, it was £6,000. I think I had a lot of resistance. I was like, I think I've been scammed. I think so. Stefan was my mentor, and he'd be telling me stuff, and I'd be like, why's this guy telling me to do stuff? Like, leave it. And it was only when I kind of stopped fighting everything Stefan said and actually listened to him, and he was like, look, just take it step by step. So like first bit sales, and then when you get to a bottleneck, collect all the data, come back to me. And when you start doing it systematically, that's when I started to see results. So I think, to answer your question, what was it about your course? I think it was the...
Yeah, not necessarily even about my course. Like, I want to learn more about, like, you and kind of, like, you know, maybe some limiting beliefs that you went through, whether it be around pricing, whether it be around appointment setting, like things like that.
Sorry, that's right. I hear you. I think it was learning to not look at it as one whole marketing agency and just break it down into appointment setting, sales, onboarding, service delivery. That was my big limiting belief. I thought I had to have all the answers straight away, and I couldn't phone anyone until I had figured out to do everything. And I guess, yeah, it's a big benefit I've gotten since then was just to learning to systemize and take it step
Yeah.
by step by step. Go from step one, get it perfect. Get to step
So
two, get it perfect, as well as you can. Anyway.
how many clients have you closed? Like, what are some of the growth metrics that you've had over the last 3 or 4 months?
Yeah, so the first month I did it, I think I booked 33 appointments and closed 2 clients. Just last week there, we closed 9 clients in a week, which was like 100% close rate. I think I had 9 appointments booked. And that was literally from, yeah, but it was literally Stefan and Thuto as well. We're like, record all your calls, send them in to me. We're going to go for it step by step. So yeah, it's just so helpful to focus on one thing.
How many clients do you think we've closed since we first started?
Myself, so 11.
That was a lead-in question to, if you were to give yourself one piece of advice when you first started, knowing what you know now, what would that be?
I think you just have to do it. You just have to do it. I'm sure everyone ends up at this answer, but you can kind of think about each step to death, and you can overthink it, and you just do it, and then build on what you're already doing and optimize and optimize and optimize. So do the calls and then figure out how to make them better. Then do the sales calls and then figure out how to make them better, and take it step by step with each part of your business. That would be the biggest advice I would give myself.
It took you 3 months to get your first 11 clients through the door. How would you do it in 3 weeks if you had to?
Yeah, I think now I feel really confident in booking appointments, and now I feel really confident in booking sales. I feel like I'll take in a lot of clients. That's the main metric I'm measuring my company's growth by at the moment. But I think I needed the months before to try and be bad at cold calling, and I needed the months before to be bad at appointment setting. So I don't know if there's anything I could do different. But
when it comes to, getting over that bottleneck of sales, like you went from 2 for 30 to 9 for 9, what have been some of the biggest levers that you've pulled, biggest mindset shifts that you've had, or biggest skills that you've acquired in sales to be able to, ultimately see massive increases in your closing percentage?
Sure. So before I did this, I did have a job in sales before I was teaching. So I think the biggest limiting belief was that I'm good at sales. And actually, I was shit, bruv. So I thought I was really good, and I wasn't really trying to hear what Stefan or anyone else was saying in terms of improvement. And this is what I mean about, there came a time when I stopped fighting with the course, and I was like, actually,
why do you think you did that? Like, were you struggling in the beginning? Like, why do you think you ultimately said, I'm going to stop fighting and I'm just going to listen?
The first thing was realizing that I was fighting it. I didn't actually realize I was doing that. I think that was probably maybe a pride thing or an ego thing, or I can do it better than them thing, perhaps. And then I stopped doing it when I questioned, is this belief I'm holding, is this helping me or hindering me? So I just tried the opposite.
So then finish that note on sales. So originally you were better at, you thought you were better at sales than you actually were, but what made you realize that? And then what did you change about your sales process?
Yeah, man. I thought I was wicked at sales.
To that new belief that ultimately resulted in the results you've gotten.
So I think the numbers don't lie. So Stefan was always drilling me, and he was like, look at the data, then make a decision, look at the data, then make a decision. So while I thought I was really good at sales, when I had the numbers, I had 33 appointments and closed 2 of them. I was like, okay, something needs to change. So that was probably the catalyst. And then it was recording the sales. I mean, meeting someone that has done this 3 times a week is so helpful. So recording the calls and then have Stefan sat with me and being like, why are you doing that? This is the framework. Maybe just making small changes and going through it step by step. That was the biggest change, I suppose.
So you said you have a business partner involved in this agency too, correct?
Yeah, my fiance.
Sweet. And what kind of roles do you cover, and what kind of roles does she cover?
So she's much better at, the way I say it is, I feel like I know the things in theory, but I'm really bad at building it on a computer. I'm like a caveman with computers. So she's very good at building basically the Go High level software, Facebook advertising software, the Facebook Business Suite software. That's where she's.
Sweet. And what kind of transformations has she gone through over the last 3 months? Like, what growth have you seen in her?
It's nice to commit to something properly that's yours as well. We were working for other people for most of our life, and it just gives you a sense of freedom that nothing else can replace. So that's kind of, she's shining at the moment, and I think that's
awesome. Is there anything I didn't ask you that I should have?
Anything you didn't ask me that you should have? It depends what you want to know. No.
Yeah, or like any last things that you have to share, advice you have to give to your younger self, or anything like that we didn't get a chance to cover?
Yeah, I'd say maybe perhaps any advice to my younger self. I'd say maybe perhaps just look at the business as a series of like tubes and bottlenecks. And whenever you reach a bottleneck, really analyze it, find out why it's a problem. And then as it grows, you'll find the next one, and just move one step at a time, really. Try not to get dwarfed by the whole, there's so many moving parts. Just one at a time, and slowly just.
That mean a lot to me. And yeah, I mean, I guess we can wrap this show up now.
Yeah, love, man. Thank you for your time and thanks for everything. Take care of yourself, bro.